Now, we'll take you through the hotels in question or the assets of SNIT, the Social Security and National Insurance Trust. We'll just take you through where we are going to tell you who owns them in terms of the ownership composition or the shareholdership composition. So for the Hotels Investment Ghana Limited, and they operate the La Beach Hotel, there's 100% ownership by SNIT. And then also we have the Golden Beach Hotels Limited, again 100% holding by SNIT, and they operate the La Palm Beach Hotel, Elmina, as well as the Busia Beach Resort, Logistics Limited as well. They also are there 100% ownership. SNIT Guest House Company Limited, again SNIT in there, and then of course the Trust Hospital, as you can find it. So the Trust Lodge Hotel, and that's based in Takrady. So a number of these subsidiaries of SNIT are the subject of this controversy. According to the documentation, the communication out there so far, they've been prone to 4, but the communication that is coming from the demonstrators led by the Member of Parliament for Norton, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, is stating the principal position that we don't need individuals who occupy key positions in government playing the space of state asset acquisition by way of principle, because it puts them in a conflict of interest situation, even if they went through the processes of acquisition statutorily or legally. And so we have some SNIT also itemizing the reasons for selling the 60% stake in some of its hotels. It is to ensure that there's adequate provision of capital injection for these entities, some of which you have some of the arguments also being made by the Member of Parliament for Norton that at least some of the entities really are profitable, and so there have to be some other means by which some capital injection could be undertaken. Also to assist in providing hotel management that will be up to the optimum, a world-class standard as you can find in any part of the world, and also develop hotels into world-class hotel standards by way of the services and then also the management that they tend to undertake as well. So some of the reasons also adduced by SNIT, as well as those who are speaking for the decision that has been taken, is also to ensure that they also jointly go through all this. Now, Labadi Beach Hotel will have a certain history, and that history is that it was jointly built in 1991 by the Lonro Africa Hotels, and then also Ashanti Goldfields and SNIT also owning 22%. That will be Anglo Gold Ashanti as we have it. And then a 5-star hotel by way of the status and the ownership 100% owned by SNIT, and that is the Labadi Beach Hotel, the starting point where these demonstrators started this event from. And then Labadi Beach Hotel will be saying that, well, they also have declared a number of dividends over the period. And what is that percentage of declaration, or by way of the nominal figure? So we're having the declaration of the dividends as we have it from the figures from SNIT, indicating that 10 million Ghana cedis in 2021 dividend paid to SNIT by the management of Labadi Beach Hotel, and then also 25 million just over the last 2 years. That's in the year under review 2022, and that is dividend paid by the management of Labadi Beach Hotel according to a statement of account year ending as we have it. And we have the SNIT board also making the decisions, and these individuals have come under wide criticism when it comes to the criticism by SNIT to go through this route of trying to either diversify their interests or not, or to call for capital injection. So we have Elizabeth Ohene, who is the chair of the board for SNIT, Dr. Emmanuel Idu-Sarkodie, who is representing the Ghana Employees Association, and then also John Senanu Amagashi, who is representing organized labor. You can find their representatives also as part of these demonstrators. And again, more labor representatives. You find it, Joshua and some also representing organized labor. What it means is that these are statutory representations by way of the act that creates SNIT. And as a result of that, you have these individuals representing these various organizations as we have in the act that creates SNIT. And as a result of that, they would have to represent whether they like it or not, because that is what the legal status is. Other members also of the board are Dr. Evans Ageme-Jiku, who is representing organized labor, and also representing, we have Ms. Ivy Naso. And for SNIT Pensioners Association, Benjamin Adotei Esuman is representing the SNIT Pensioners Association. And then also Peter Oseidria is a nominee of the president. And again, this is by what the law says to represent on the board. Now, the board then takes the decision, and a number of individuals will be part of them, and also including the Director General of SNIT, Kofi Bosompim Osafo-Mafo, who has come up for also being named when it comes to some of the statements that be made by those who are convening the demonstration. We have representing the Minister of Finance, the Deputy Finance Minister, Abena Osei-Asare, and also the President nominee again then on the board, the second one, Mrs. Gloria Irene Amaki Paida, and Giftianan, the company secretary, of course, is a legal person by way of what the statute says. These, again, create the grounds for the demonstrators to raise key issues about the decision that has been taken. You look at the composition of the board, even though the president has only 2 nominees, of course, organized labor also has a number of representation. The finance ministry's representative is a deputy finance minister, again, linked to the ruling party, the government of the day as well. The president's nominee, we have Mrs. Gloria Paida also there. Then there's also another nominee. And then we have the Director General of SNIT. And if you look at the appointment to this very position, it has to be, of course, the President in consultation with the Council of State. And you have the letters of appointment, especially what we've seen in this Akufo-Addo government era, in those green letters. You find that these names come in. And again, the President does the appointment in consultation with the Council of State. And subsequently, their decision point is, if they make these decisions, is it a representation or is it influenced by the president or other individuals within the government of the day, the ruling party, etc. So you don't put yourself in a conflict of interest situation. And because when you get to the number of related indicators when it comes to SNIT, you find that we're told that some 1.9 million workers contribute to SNIT. As at the last statistics that we put together, it was 1.6, but the updated figure is 1.9. So that represents over 16% of all Ghanaian workers, as at the last time we had the figure of 1.9. Now, SNIT also has experienced some deficit of some 442 million, as well as some 473 million in 2018 and 2019, respectively. And so you take a look at that, you look at the interpretation of their financial statement that is published at the end of the period, and the last one we had was in 2019. Then the question is being asked over and over again, because over the last 12 years, returns of SNIT assets have averaged some 12.2%, and further 0.9% after inflation has been factored into this. So when you net all this, according to the International Labour Organization, is just 70% less than the average return on a 91-day T-bill. And that's just some 12.2 average against the 17.5%. That also means that you look at what the concerns have been raised about the assets or the investments of SNIT, the decisions they make, the returns on those investments. Should that be a concern for the ordinary worker? I guess that is why we have the Trades Union Congress representing organized labor all taking part in this demonstration. and their spokespeople have been very, very much strong on this subject, that such decisions should ensure that it inures to the benefit of the ordinary worker. Because when we have to juxtapose that with what the commentary has been coming from the labor organization, that's the International Labor Organization, a number of organizations as well, who do analysis on SNIT, the contributions of workers, etc. It is estimated that by the year 2036, SNIT reserves would have been depleted, indicating a point where the scheme can no longer sustain itself without additional funding. So it would then mean at this point, even though this has been disputed, you would have a number of recapitalization efforts, and this one certainly will have to come from not only the workers, but also the government of Ghana as well, who becomes a key principle when it comes to employing people. So there are a number of ramifications when it comes to the principle that is being demonstrated by these protesters on the street currently, for which we're bringing you this live. And then so far, we've had a response from SNIT over that position of the International Labour Organization. According to SNIT, measures to ensure that contributors get to have their monies coming in has so far been put in place, both private as well as government, as employers who would have to then be made to make sure that their premiums are paid monthly if anytime they have to fulfill those obligations. SNIT also said it's ensuring that it cleans up the pension payroll to ensure that those who tend to be paid are those who are alive. And we've seen a number of efforts so far. So, for example, annually, you have to make sure that if you pass a certain age, you have to go to a SNIT center or office to get your details up to date, so that the data they have will be up to scratch, up to the minute. And then SNIT is also responding, or has also responded to that publication by the International Labour Organization. That their measures have included curbing people from abusing the scheme through frivolous changes of date of birth. That will make sure that they get to be on the scheme for a very long time, and then the benefits would have to go to them, and then SNIT will be the end loser. So that's where the conversation is so far. But again, we are having this conversation because this transaction is taking place. If you get to look at what the responses have been, the principal position of the demonstrators is that we have an individual like Brian Champon occupying the position of not only being a member of parliament, but a key position in government, Minister of Agriculture. His response is that he's not in a management position because he plays a role in government, not only in the executive, but also as a legislator, and so has not played a managerial role, but holds, of course, shareholdership position in the company, which is taking over an asset of SNIT, or a number of assets of SNIT. And these are chain of hotels that are owned by SNIT. Now, the conveners of this demonstration, led by Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, again, their principle is, because you are a politically exposed person, you play a key role in government, you're a Minister of Agriculture, you are a leading figure in the ruling New Patriotic Party, your party is forming government, indeed, has been in government since the 7th of January 2017, up to date. You're also a member of parliament. They are not convinced that you don't find yourself in a conflict of interest situation. So that really is the principal position when it comes to the reasons why the demonstrators, led by Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, as well as the other supporting groups, the Trade Union Congress, the Federation of Labour, the La Youth Associations, as well as the United Gadangbe Caucus, who are all taking part. We also have Arise Ghana, by the way, who are also on the street, as well as other individuals who are just making sure they support this demonstration to drum home their principle that this should not happen. Whether this will be listened to or not, will take you on the ground, because Mawena Egbeta, that's Eric Egbeta, is right on the ground, being supported by Crosby Anna to bring you the latest when it comes to all that has been happening. And it's all over the takeover of these SNIT hotels. And principally, we've seen the La Beach Hotel that has been at the center or the fulcrum of the argument by the Member of Parliament for North Tongue, that if you look at their statement of account, they have been posting profits. As a result of that, they should not be one of the 4 or 6 companies that should be involved in this. And so initially started off with 6 hotels and now pruned down to 4 based on criteria and whether they have been met. And so you can find that they are no longer part of the process. And those no longer part of the process are the Trust Lodge, Buzoya Beach Hotel, but those that are at the center of the discussion currently, the La Beach Hotel, the La Palm Royal Beach Resort, the Rich Royal Hotel based in Cape Coast, Elmina Beach Hotel, goes by the name. And we've had a number of defenders for the Rock City Hotel as well as the Alsigns come to raise a number of issues. And the sale reasons or rationale are up there. Raising capital injection, making sure they have a world-class management when it comes to the management of hotel chains like you can find anywhere in the world. And SNIT currently, we're told, is in talks with Rock City Hotel because, well, it put in a bid as well because it declared its interests. And the process is in its final stages. We know that there's been a petition before the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice for a probe into this. And the SNIT is supposed to cooperate with SHRA to make sure that the investigations they are supposed to undertake comes clear. The findings then will be made public. Of course, will be communicated to all of us. And of course, you can trust Media General, TV3, 3 News, will bring you up-to-the-minute information when STRAT finishes its own probe into this. And this demonstration, as you're watching, is coming to you live. A number of individuals who have joined this, and these are live videos we're bringing to you. And what the Ghana Police Service as well as National Security has been able to do is to provide a strong support of security, not only to ensure that this goes on well, but for any unforeseen security issues that could pop up along the principal areas until they finally converge or the switchback road, Kaiser-King. That's where we expect them to be. We've had a number of addresses so far. It promises to be at least a tedious 1 hour or 2 before they finally converge at the end point, based on the route that has been itemized and has been communicated to all of us.